So that's the books that we both read, but Matt did also have a look at Dark Multiverse, or Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Wonder Woman, War of the Gods issue 1. After all these other big books this week, I had no interest because the last issue that me and Connor read was thoroughly in the meh.
That Hush one was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I'm someone that defends Hush as a story just because it is a fun, mid-2000s.
I think we all like Hush to a reasonable degree.
Yeah, but I know there are people out there that are like, no, Hush is a bad story. And I was like, okay, well, you can say that it's mainly just a showcase for Batman and for Jim Lee to draw Batman stuff. That's fine. But I expected way more with Hush and some of that stuff with the Dark Multiverse. It did not work out for me.
Yeah, and Matt was saying, hey, I don't need to talk about this. I was like, no, you read it. You should mention what it's like. Tell us what it is quickly.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it is one of these Tales of the Dark Multiverse that gets brought in by Tempest Fuginaut and very Twilight Zone-y, which I am a sucker for. But this one's based off of a George Perez Wonder Woman story of War of the Gods where, funnily enough, Hecate is involved, which we had just finished in Justice League Dark. And it's handled much, much more effectively there than here. And I get that this is a one shot and they have to rush through things, but just that version of Hecate and Circe and all of that stuff, much more fleshed out through Tynan than here. And so in War of the Gods, it was Hecate trying to manipulate all of the different pantheons into going to war with the Amazons because she was upset at them. And Wonder Woman having to get all of the superheroes together and fighting back, and of course they win, and it was Perez's his goodbye to Wonder Woman back in it was the early 90s when it came out by that time. So in this one we come up on the war, and Wonder Woman gets possessed by Hecate, and she ends up becoming this avenging goddess of magic that goes and starts taking out all the different pantheons, while at the same time you had the different band of Amazons, the band of Migdal. They had launched an attack at the same time. And I guess this is all from the Perez stuff too. And there was this military officer that was fighting him that, come to find out, and this is the Greek god of fear, Phobos. And so their alliance between Phobos and Hecate possessed Wonder Woman. They go out on all-out war. They take out Steve and Etta to completely wipe out Diana. And then it just becomes this really long and drawn out. The heroes are trying to fight Hecate, Diana, but Diana's still in there trying to get out. And the one cool thing with the art is they show her trying to get out is she's like trapped in this hole. And every time she jumps and tries to get out of that hole, it gets higher. So the harder she fights, the harder it is for her to get out. And basically in the grand fashion of Tales of the Dark Multiverse, evil wins, and they think that the gods realize that it's the belief not in them that gives the magic power. It's the belief in the superheroes. So now she decides she has to take them all out. So one by one, we see this evil Wonder Woman take them all out until she's like the only one standing. And at the end, kind of comes back out, but not really. And it's kind of messy. And it was written by Vita Ayala, who does really good work with Wonder Woman from the stuff that I read. I think a lot of these, they do hang on that event or big story, sometimes a little bit too much, where the ones that I really did like just kind of take the bare bones of it and tell a story out of that. Almost like a what if. So like the Nightfall one, where it's like, what if Bane had won? And that's where the darkness comes from. In this one, I don't know if it was my familiarity with the event, or maybe the event was just kind of like, didn't have that much hooks for the darkness. It just kind of felt, same with Hush. Like I didn't feel like the darkness in Hush was enough to be like a what if Thomas Elliot.
I don't think these have as much of a purpose either, because the last time we got a batch of them, they were kind of building to something. Here these feel kind of random just because we're doing metal stuff. I guess, we could do some more multiverse stories. And the last one was just such a, like, if these were more regularly sized, I might have been willing to jump on for another one, but because it was like 50 pages, I was like, you know what, I'm good.
No, and you're not missing too much on this one, because all of the other ones I was pretty familiar with. So, we had Infinite Crisis, and we've had the Judas Contract, Death of Superman, Nightfall, all stories I'm pretty familiar with. And then Hush, and then this one, which I had to look up this one because I had to see
Yeah, I never
just how
read War of the
different
Gods. Yeah.
it was. Yeah. And then you come to find out too that it's not such a great story for George Perez because they kind of forced him out of Wonder Woman. Like so it was his last story, but not by his own thing. And it took a while for him to fix things with DC for him to finally come back. So yeah, so it was kind of like, well, did Vita Ayala have the idea for the story? You know, because I know Wonder Woman seems really close to them, you know. Or was this just like, hey, we're doing these things with events. Here's this one. Go ahead and write it. So it's one of those ones where I don't feel, because I feel, again, to bring up the Nightfall one, I feel that was something that Higgins just had. And he's so intimately aware with the Bat family that he made it work. Like, so if they were like, hey, what's your idea for a dark multiverse where Bane won Nightfall? And he was like, oh, okay, cool, here. This one, though, and the fact that I wasn't that familiar with this story, and I'm pretty up to date with continuity stuff. Like, I kind of know the big beats, you know, like 0 Hour and stuff like that. It almost makes me wonder, too, is how many people are, like, familiar with War of the Gods.
Yeah, it feels like maybe they've done all the bigger stories, so now they're starting to... Like, there's a lot of big ones you could go to, but there's only like so many times you can do a Bat one. Like, cause like, okay, yeah, we all understand.
Well, so like, I'm waiting for the one of the dark of almost that 0 Hour one, but where Hal, what's it called, the Parallax story, where he goes and wipes out the Judgment Night or whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Give me the dark version of that one. That one I feel would necessitate that, because that is a dark moment going throughout.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was just kind of like, I don't know what the next one is, but I'm not keen to read it. I was kind of on iffy with After Hush.
Yeah, I don't think there is a next one. I think there was only these two announced.
Was there only these two? Because I felt like there was more.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was another one after that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember these two being announced. Oh, I was definitely lying, because Tales from the Dark Multiverse Flashpoint issue 1 is out next week.
Remember I said I don't want to read these? That's how they get me, because I do. Flashpoint is one that would be a good idea. You know?
Yeah, who's on that bad boy?
That's what I'm looking at.
There we go. Brian Hitch and David Marquez. Marquez art would be
Marquez art's almost worth it.
Marquez art should be good on that. But yeah, okay. Do I rate it?
If I have to rate it, yeah. I mean, the art's fine. I don't connect to the story that much, so I would probably give it a 5/5. You know.
Sure.
About there.